Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Do not go gentle into that good night. Unlike the musings of Dylan Thomas, for most of us, the passage into old age happens without us noticing, until we're there. However, on a community level, in aggregate, it is much more pronounced. You see, while our individual dependence upon services happens one need at a time, at a community level, we have to deal with all of the needs at the same time. Aging services consume a noticeable portion of a county's budget. And with the trends of a senior population accelerating rapidly, it will become a major issue in the years to come. That is the topic of our county seat today, so let's start with the basics on aging. Services, that is.
Here's an interesting fact for you. In the United States, 10,781 brand new Americans are born every day. What you may not know is that just as many Americans turn 65 each day. The interesting fact is that in the next couple of years, those entering the later phase of life will exceed those entering the first. So what's the relevance of this fact to county government? It means that community demands for aging services are starting to increase against those for childhood services. So look out, PTA, you're about to get some competition. Providing services for elders is not an option for local government. It's a requirement. The first federal legislation on elder care was passed in 1935 as a part of the Social Security Act. It was expanded with the passage of the Older Americans Act in 1965. This brought us Medicare and Medicaid, and along with it, the AOA, the Administration on Aging Office. The AOA sets the requirements on the use of matching federal funds. This is why there are basic programs that counties across the country offer to assist the aging population, regardless of where we live. In Utah, the Department of Aging and Adult Services, DAAS, assures federal compliance by counties in elder health care, food, nutrition, elder safety, and in-home caregiver programs. Counties like Salt Lake and Davis County have their own aging services departments, but most others pool their services with neighboring counties. There are 12 area agencies across the state in all. Many of the programs needed to serve seniors have to be closer to the neighborhoods where they live. So these 12 area aging agencies operate a total of 117 senior centers around the state. According to Scott Christensen, the director of 6 County Area Agency on Aging, a senior center is much more than a cool place for elderly folks to make quilts, play bingo, shoot pool, and do line dancing. They also serve as hubs to deliver adequate nutrition to people still living in their homes, provide transportation to doctors, events, and to assist in shopping trips, and a base for counseling on nutrition, Medicaid paperwork, and physical activity. All of these things don't just keep older people busy. It has been proven that this kind of service reduces the kind of chronic conditions that place seniors in jeopardy of landing in nursing homes, which is far more expensive, not to mention an unwanted transition. My mother is a perfect example of that, as she lives independently, 95 years old, and in great health, a true low-cost, high-fund senior. The problem is that with this wave of elders on the horizon, the fact that people are living almost a decade longer than they did in 1965, counties in the state will have to bear more financial burden to keep the population at home and long-term care in check. Hopefully, bright minds will be able to plot that course. We'll get out the roadmap when Chad comes back on the county seat. I'm Maria Rossi Booth.
Million years in the making, dinosaurs once roamed this land. Now they're found at the Dinosaur National Monument. Let's take you beyond the bones. We call it Dinosaur Land. You'll find it offers adventures and sights not seen anywhere else in the world. Come to Dinosaur Land, Vernal, Utah. You'll want to stay forever. The dinosaurs did.
There's more to life than the 9 to 5. There's more to experience than rush hour traffic. And there's more to see than the view from your window. In Davis County, we have over 500 miles of trails to satisfy the most avid bikers and hikers, taking you beyond the ordinary and into a natural world. Pick up your free trails and bikeways maps at any bike shop or city office in Davis County and discover what you've been missing. Davis County, Utah. Eat, stay, play. Learn more at playinddavis.com.
There's a little place on a Utah map where I was raised, where my heart's at, where the sagebrush grows wild and high, and the stars come out at night. Oh, there ain't nothing like being raised in the Basin with a Ute reservation, skiing starvation, that Duchesne County life.
Welcome back to the county seat. We are talking today about aging services and the scope that it plays, the importance it plays in our communities, and the burdens it places on local government. So joining us for our conversation today for the discussion segment of our show, a couple of people who know about it, Ron Winterton, who is a Duchesne County Commissioner, and Laurie Brummond, who followed him in from the Uintah Basin area of governments. So as Rhea mentioned, most of the aging services are handled by AOGs just because it's too concentrated for a county to try and do, particularly a rural county. But how broad is the impact?
Well, you just take everyday life. What services do you use? And that's what we provide for them or assist them in as they get up. Then there's transportation needs that you try to address, social activities, and then even down to providing some contract help for doing taxes, something like that.
I was kind of surprised at the breadth of some of the programs that are federally and state assisted to the AOGs, like helping them sign up for Medicaid.
That's true.
There's a name for that program or something.
There are many names and probably many acronyms that go right along with that. Yeah. Our AOG is fortunate. We administer the contract with the Division of Aging directly to Duchesne and Daggett County. And in our region also we have Uintah County who administers their own, but we coordinate back and forth with them also. There are, as you said, congregate meals, home-delivered meals, alternatives. Those are some of the programs that probably stand out the most when somebody thinks of senior services. But you are right, there are numerous others that are also administered and come through the contract. Do I know all of those? No, but are there many? Yes, and each one requires a lot of effort and always has those regulations that come with it that staff have to be aware of and ensure for proper administration of the grant. Because it's also monitored from the state of Utah. We don't just receive the money and it's an easy fix. Those are all of the contract components are basically monitored to ensure that we're complying with every one of those rules and regulations.
So Laurie, are there some of these programs that actually are federal, state match, county or AOG match as well? Or well, AOG isn't a taxing entity, so a county match as well?
Not only does, in our case with, and I'm going to talk specific on this one with Duchesne County, not only does Duchesne County bring in the match, in the last few years Duchesne County has also made up the loss of the federal or state dollars in behalf of the services for Duchesne County, so those services weren't lost to those seniors. Duchesne County is fortunate we have 2 senior centers because of the large geographical area that it covers, so that it can accommodate seniors on both sides, east and west. And it still takes a lot of money. Not only do they provide this cash match, they also provide building for us to host the seniors in and to operate the program. They pay for all the utilities on those buildings. So this, in Duchesne County's case, in this, it's more than just a cash match to deliver the services. They provide everything else for those services to be delivered also.
I know there's a senior center in Holiday that's not very far from my place. I know they got a kitchen there. I know they get meals ready and send them out. And I think, okay, well, that might cover Holiday, maybe part of Mill Creek, you know. But, I mean, if you're sending out from Duchesne and you've got to go to Tabiona, how big are those routes?
We have two. Again, I have to credit Duchesne County again because they had the foresight to say, okay, when we are building these two centers, we're going to have the kitchens placed in them. So not only is it going to be a nutritious hot meal prepared the day of and sent out so that it's very fresh. For the home delivered meals, we have a vehicle that leaves Duchesne, the Duchesne Center, our Gateway Center, and it travels 90 miles. The one in Roosevelt does the same thing. We serve approximately 45 clients, but of course, what is always more of an additional burden to the rural areas is the transportation and the delivery of those because you're traveling so far because the homes are either remote, as you just said, Duchesne and Tabiona, Altamont, the other way we go Mighton, Pleasant Valley, Neola. And again, it's because of the support that we have that we're able to do that. Elsewise, we couldn't.
How do you staff all this? I mean, I'm just looking at the transportation end of it at all. You've got two routes at 90 plus miles a day, so that's like a full day for somebody. Then you've got to do the bus pickups to get people to the doctor, so you're obviously running buses as well. I mean, how do you staff that all?
She has a large staff, but we have several grants, and she ties it together so that some of the programs will overlap to provide those services. We tap into our UDOT funds to help with the buses. We also have ADA compliant vehicles. I'm trying to remember the name for it, and they'll go out and take these people to their doctor appointments. We have a lot that are diabetic and need assistance to getting there and back home, and then we can tie that into our senior buses to make sure that they get into their meals or large staff. But we do it on the bare minimum. I don't know really how she does it, but she's very, very good at her job and has a very good staff.
The number of people hitting 65 is expected in the next 2 years to surpass the number of newborns.
Yeah, one of the statistics that we have is by the year 2030, it will almost double the population of the seniors. And so if we're just scratching the surfaces on the services that we provide for them, where are we going to be in 10 years, 12 years? They're a lot cheaper to take care of if they're in their home and in the community than in a rest home. When you look at what the average cost for a rest home is about $68,000 a year. The services that we provide to assist them here is about $4,100 a year. And so we can do it cheaper. Do we do everything? It's not possible. But we do provide enough services that they're very comfortable and they have a social life.
What he's telling you is this out. If we can keep them in their homes, it is much more economical. And this is your alternatives program, and that program is state funded only. When we lost funding probably about 4 years ago, Duchesne County came in with that money. It provides very simple services. It's your home health services that are usually contracted because we don't have that in-house. They go in, they may help them bathe, they provide essential services for them, but if it keeps them in their home, and I think, I can't remember the exact cost, but the small amount of money that provides offsets if they're moved into a care facility of the $68,000 a year compared to approximately $3,100 is per client.
Are we going to have to change the way we actually build communities? I mean, is that something that you have to? Because right now, your choices are put somebody in assisted living or try and move them into a retirement center that's got these things, or a retirement community. But then you lose the diversity of that community that keeps people mentally engaged. There have been studies about this.
Yeah.
And so is there something that we need to do to try and diversify in our planning so that we build communities that are more resilient to aging, or is that a question that's somewhere out in the ether?
Well, you know, I think a lot of times people think that just the climate itself takes care of that, because as you age, the cold is harder, and so you see where you have these communities are basically just snowbirds. That and so what we're seeing in ours is we're seeing a lot more homes that are being remodeled or built so that they have the mother-in-law apartment or something where they can have assistance if they need it, and then these services come in and provide the overlap that maybe they can't do.
Well, this is actually very interesting. It looks like it looks like if we're going to really solve this problem, we still have to stretch outside the box a little bit.
We do.
Is that something is that something the state needs to take on?
I think the state needs to play a bigger role in this, because if you look at the statistics, it's going to be a statewide issue in the next 10 years, and how are we going to meet those needs? And so I think the state needs to be in the discussion. Though we provide the services, they need to assist us in the pocketbook.
So Rhea was kind of joking at the end of her segment, the first of the show, where she said, okay, PTA, look out, you've got some competition. Is that basically going to be what might be the thing? Is we're going to have some gray panthers trying to look at the funding situations?
You know, we see it on a local level all the time anyway, right now, and they're wanting us to help provide other services, dances, and stuff like that. And so we see it all the time. I don't think that you've seen it a lot on the Capitol, but it may get to that point that, you know, they want their share of the pie.
Tell me a little bit about outside sources of money. I mean, you guys apparently have a big community partner out there that sends you thousands of dollars a year.
Well, they don't do it every year. Fortunately for my AOG, they have done it numerous times for our food pantries, which of course is available for senior services also. There's many programs within the AOG that target seniors specifically for additional assistance, but will the senior always take it? No. Your older seniors are very proud, and they don't always want to participate in that, but it is there for them as a service if they so choose. Strata Networks, our local telecommunication, does a large golf tournament every year, and our home delivered meal program was the recipient of that for this year, which will bring in thousands of extra dollars. With that, they also did a video to do additional donations, soliciting donations. Okay, I got that one.
Yeah, it's
recruiting.
It's just, let's put it this way, rather than explain it. Here's the link, folks. Just go on and take a look at this. It's a great video.
It is a great video.
And this has been a very great conversation. Thank you both for joining us for this conversation on aging. And we'll be right back with the county seat with some closing thoughts.
Look south to adventure. Look south to beauty. Look south to San Juan County. Out here, the road goes on forever, and what you'll find will change how you see the world. Climb on your OHV and discover forgotten landscapes and vistas that challenge the imagination. From Blanding and Monticello to the cliff faces of Monument Valley, we're open and ready for you to explore. San Juan County, Utah's Canyon Country.
I'm Chadwick. And we will see you next week on the County Seat.
The Utah Farm Bureau began as a collection of farmers supporting each other to raise the food we enjoy. Today, Farm Bureau membership encompasses everyone, whether ranchers, growers, or just everyday folks like you and me. Members enjoy discounts on items like vehicles and ATVs, or insurance that's very affordable. You don't have to be a farmer to join, and dues are small, but together we make a big difference in keeping our food supply local and abundant. Join Utah Farm Bureau.
Welcome back to the county seat. As we learned in our discussion, area aging agencies are enlisting more help from the community to meet the needs of an expanding senior population. Like the Strata Golf Tournament in the Uintah Basin, it requires thinking outside the box. Or, as in the case of a new food bank program, inside the box, as we find out in this week's On the Ground.
The Utah Food Bank was established here locally in 1904. So for over 100 years, we've been really looking, facing, and challenging issues of food insecurity and hunger throughout the state of Utah. In 2010, the Utah Food Bank began to administer a box that we call CSFP. A food box is created here at the food bank, delivered once a month at the same time each month, providing a week's worth of product to those who are in need. To qualify for the CFP food box, you need to be 60 years old. Your income needs to be below 130% of the poverty level. So that means your income needs to be around $1,300 a month. We follow what we refer to as a recipe. That means it's a very distinct list of product that goes to these folks. It contains proteins, peanut butter, meats, contains all sorts of canned fruits and vegetables. Anything that's perishable that we have in stock, we distribute. So it's a good mix of food, it's nutritional food, and it's food that seniors can prepare for themselves. So many of these pallets will be delivered by Utah Food Bank trucks to senior community centers or senior housing projects. But then individuals can receive the same product at home. But these boxes then are delivered by a volunteer.
We have 6 clients here at the Utah Food Bank where we take out their food box once a month. So we are here getting our food boxes, but also grabbing anything that they have in the freezer or in the fridge. Some hamburger buns on that one.
So a volunteer commits to the Utah Food Bank for a 6-month window of time. They go to the same person's house once a month for 6 months and establish a rapport and a relationship. For a lot of people, these are the only visitors they'll have at their home all month.
One of our clients, when I called yesterday to schedule, she hasn't been feeling very well, but she was excited to see us so that she could get a big hug. So I think when they see us, they can talk, you know, some of these people don't get to see very many people outside of their home. So getting a visit from us is really nice.
You know, last year annually, the Utah Food Bank was able to distribute almost 33,000 boxes. That means we went to households 33,000 times. We were able to utilize, again, expertise of volunteers to deliver the box, but also to make the box, to come here and place those items in the box, to seal that box, to be sure it's ready for a volunteer to pick up. The process requires a lot of time and involvement. It's a fun activity for volunteers to do. Kids as young as 15 can join us, and we love to have families come. This is a great way for kids to be able to help the senior population throughout the state of Utah, and we're serving now in 18 counties, and we hope to expand the program as we move forward.
I will have some closing thoughts in just a minute.
What would you do with an extra day in Utah Valley? Explore the Wasatch Mountains? Snap a family photo at Bridal Veil Falls. Cool off on Utah Lake or the Provo River. No matter what you're searching for, you can find it in Utah Valley. Bring everyone together.
All local products have a story of magical places, real people, and delicious recipes spanning generations. So go ahead and discover flavors you've never tasted and friends you never knew you had. Utah's own Discover Local Food.
Welcome back to the county seat. Since the 1600s, communities have acknowledged an obligation to care for the elderly, first through almshouses, literally translated the poorhouse, and later through nursing and assisted living centers. But the default until a few decades ago was to institutionalize and segregate seniors for care. It has only been in recent decades that we have attempted to shelter in place as a government-sponsored option. That brought about the concept of Meals on Wheels and senior centers to provide community-based services that would allow people to live out their lives at home. But the very fact that we have focused on segregating older citizens into independent, assisted, or nursing care without diverse community integration may actually be accelerating the ravaging effects of age by isolating senior citizens. Here's something to consider. Some communities have actually started to experiment with self-contained communities where elders can move about easily with necessities nearby while integrating their life with other age groups in the same living area, giving them the social interaction that keeps them more active and alert. The early results of such experiments proved to be promising. These engineered neighborhoods seem to shift economic burden of older people into economic contributions by them, keeping them in the community mix and keeping them more independent and engaged through senior employment and volunteerism. In my view, it will take more of this kind of thinking to absorb the future waves of baby boomers, followed by millennials, who will most certainly follow in their footsteps. And with some of the advances in medicine, both groups may be occupying that space at the same time. Something to think about. Well, until next week, we thank you for watching and encourage you to interact with us during the week on social media and share the county seat experience with your friends. That is easiest done by following on our pages. Remember, local government is where your life happens, so be part of the solution, and we will see you next week on the county seat.